Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of Daily English Premier League, provided to you by GSPN. My name is Michał Czarniecki. I am your host, and I will have the unbelievable pleasure of hosting today's episode, which is going to be the Merseyside Derby review. And what a derby it's been. I'm going to be analysing it with Louie, Easton, and Irby White, of course.
Irby White.
Irby White, I'm sorry. Of course. Irby White, obviously. Welcome to the show, guys. And, try not to fume too much after this derby.
You're going to have to give us a lot of luck with that one because my head is still absolutely steaming. What's it been, like 30 minutes since the match ended, something like that? And my blood is still boiling at the moment.
I can totally imagine. I mean, and to be honest, from the perspective of just a pure football fan, like he did not have to take any sides. That was such an unbelievable showcase of why derby games are still important and why they still count and why we should still watch them. I mean, that screamer by James Tarkowski. I know you guys hated it, but the second I saw that goal, I just started screaming. It's just kind of like it's the same kind of emotion like Barcelona, like the Barcelona fans had when Sergio Roberto scored that screamer.
I mean, it's like... And there was a slight pitch invasion as well in that corner. And, my immediate reaction was anger. But, as I saw the fans all celebrating, total jubilation in that corner, I just thought, you know what? I mean, that is special right there. That's what football is all about. But, as a Liverpool fan, I'm furious. I mean, I'm assuming you're the same as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a good thing I wasn't a player. My head had completely gone. I would have been in the middle of that, helping out Curtis. So I'm trying to come down from that.
Oh no, I wasn't even talking about that. I was talking about the people in the corner. When he ran over to the corner flag.
No,
but I would have been over with Curtis Jones myself because, I mean, Michał, as a neutral, I'm interested to know what your point of view is of in a derby, one of your players running over to the away fans and celebrating in front of them when it's already been a heated match, complete boiling point in the stadium. Like, what do you make of that as a neutral?
What I make of that is that I have a lot of understanding towards the emotions that drove those players because, let's face it, it's not only the Merseyside Derby. Any derby is just bound to get heated too much. And, first, the example comes off the top of my head, but it's super relevant. I mean, how many times did Sergio Ramos got sent off in those El Clasicos because the emotions got the better of him? How about the Manchester Derby? Like any derby in the world, you're bound to get some heated exchanges. And the fact that there were 3 sent-offs at the end, it just proves that, that's actually the beauty of football, guys. I mean... Without emotions, and I believe that was one of your main arguments why you hate VAR so much, that it deprives emotions. Without emotions, the football is gone. Football is nowhere to be found. Yeah, but you know what, guys? I would like to provide some sort of like a soothing for your souls, for Louie and for Irby. I hope I pronounced that right this time. So... let's go for something cool. Let's go for something that we can just present our calm and collected opinions.
Right.
And that is the starting lineups, because we're only here to discuss Derby, so we've got plenty of time to do that. So let's start with the Everton starting lineup. And Irby, like, what is your opinion about that starting lineup? Like, do you think that, like, just heading into that game, do you think that this Everton side could have presented like a bigger threat that they actually did?
It's funny you ask that because every time I see an Everton starting lineup against a City, a United or something, I'm just like, who's going to make the difference today for them? And then it's just when in these matches, it's just so much different. The guy that went off injured. Oh goodness, he's escaping me.
Iliman Ndiaye.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's absolutely brilliant. I was thinking he's one of the only guys that's going to cause any issues. Beto, he's a big guy. He for the first time, I don't want to say he caused Van Dijk issues, but he looked up for it today. So looking at it, I wasn't too concerned, but in the back of my mind, I knew it was Everton, right? When you think about, as a Liverpool fan, take the traditional big six out of it. What's the one away day that you hate more than anything else? It's going to Everton. It's just it doesn't matter where they are in the league at any point of the season. Its form is going to go out the window, and we knew it was going to be a war, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
so,
and also they came into this match with 3 Premier League wins in a row, and it's also the memory of going there last season when we lost the league at Goodison Park, as they sang at us. It's a horrendous place to play. Mo Salah said it himself when he got interviewed by Steven Gerrard. He hates playing at Everton because the fans will just shout things about your family to you and so on and so forth. It's a vile place to go as a Liverpool player. But back at the starting lineups, it's interesting because both teams had the exact same formation, the sort of 4-2-3-1, and I was just amazed at how defensively structured, like how well they were structured defensively throughout the first half, especially. Made it really difficult for Liverpool players because Liverpool always struggle against a low block, and having 2 defensive midfielders, one of them with loads of experience in Idrissa Gana Gueye, and a really tall right back in O'Brien. It was always going to be tough for Liverpool, and Cody Gakpo coming off that left wing, he barely. I don't remember him causing any issues for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean that was basically due to the fact that David Moyes knew exactly how to counter Liverpool's intensity, because this is something that Liverpool is known by. That basically you guys just push forward. You do not want to even bother like exchanging the back passes because it just makes no point. Like instead you just like full thrust forward, and then you see your opponents just shaking their boots. That basically they cannot stop you because you're just like a full steam ahead. And Everton and David Moyes especially, he knew how to counteract that. And of course, we're talking about how Everton were organized, but let's not forget about the goal scorer for Everton, Beto. Plenty of trivia for you there about Beto, that all 4 of his Premier League goals this season have come at Goodison Park, and 6 of his 7 overall in the competition. And also that is his very first time that he scored in back-to-back appearances in the Premier League. I gotta be honest, Van Dijk must have thought very, very long and hard, like a day before the game, how to stop Beto, who's on form like that. Isn't that right, Louie?
I mean, Beto, I mean, from Van Dijk's perspective, I don't think he had a fantastic game by his standards. I mean, I actually saw him get dribbled past today at one point before. I mean, I can't remember who it was, but they got stopped by Konate. But it was a very tough day for Virgil van Dijk. Beto is one of these players that not only are they really tall and really strong, but they're also really fast. So it's sort of like, how do you stop them kind of thing. But his goal was so strange. I've never seen, like, it was a one pass and a free kick from almost at the halfway line all the way through, and he scored on his first touch, dealing with Alisson's one-on-one incredibly well. I've never seen anything like it from Alisson on Liverpool's defence all season.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Moyes. I mean, I believe Rio Ferdinand commented on it that must have been trained for, like, they must have prepared themselves for that instance of a set piece, which could actually pose, like if used correctly, it could pose a big threat to Liverpool's back 4, and that's exactly what happened. So again, credit to Moyes. But maybe enough about credit for Everton, unless Eba, you want to add something there?
No, I don't know if you guys saw in real time right before the free kick was taken. If you go back and look at the highlights or just watch it, watch the replay, you see Van Dijk shouting at Konate moments before he runs the goal. Like, I feel like Van Dijk saw it coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on the TV and I'm just like, uh-oh. And I just see Beto run across him. I was like, he's going to get a chance. And it was, like you just said, I'm sure that was trained on the training pitch, worked on all week, and it caught Konate out. Whether Van Dijk, that's what he was shouting at Konate about or not. But moments before it happened, I was like, uh-oh, something's going to happen here. I think Van Dijk must have seen it. So, but yeah, go back and look at that, because it was right. I mean, it was maybe 3 seconds before the ball was played. I was like, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm. But the way Arne Slot is managing the team, I'm sure that they will not make the same mistake twice, and I do not think that this trick will work one more time against Liverpool. And that trick has been used. It's like the card is on the table, you can't get back to it. And just like we should like no longer be touching Everton's starting lineup because we've already praised them, and I know that might have hurt you a little bit there. So let's praise the Liverpool starting lineup, because that was basically the first suit. I mean, maybe apart from Trent Alexander-Arnold, who could not start because of him not being fit for 90 minutes, but I just look at those names. I look at Salah up front, Szoboszlai, Gakpo. I'm just wow. I mean, that Liverpool squad against any other team on any other day, they would have smashed the opposition. But unfortunately for Liverpool, they came against Everton.
Apart from Nottingham Forest, apparently this season.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But I could predict that starting lineup when I saw who we played against Plymouth, especially. Not even bringing or any of our midfielders or the front three that started. The Conor Bradley performance was strange because he just kept on getting himself involved in loads of incidents in his right back position. And it's such a good starting lineup until we play against someone with a low block, and then even right towards the end we were pressing, and I thought in the last 10 minutes, wow, we don't deserve to be winning, but I will take this. I don't mind if we win dirty. I don't mind if we just, take any chances that we can get. But it was a strange sort of way that we lined up, because Diaz was constantly going over to the left wing and trying to help out Gakpo, and then there would be no one in the middle. I thought Szoboszlai was probably the best out of our front four, other than Salah. I mean, other than Salah's goal and assist, he had quite a quiet game, and I thought Szoboszlai was one constantly getting involved. He had that shot, I think it was in the first half, where he made Pickford dive to his bottom right in order to stop the ball from going in. But it's just Liverpool struggling against the low block again, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, and I was actually about to ask about Dominik Szoboszlai, because every single time I prepare for, when I try to prepare for our like recordings of those episodes, I just look at the stats to back up like my thinking, and actually the stats contradict what you say. And I'm not saying that stats are perfect, because you cannot look at football.
This is an example of them not being perfect, in my opinion, because if you look at the stats of De Bruyne when he first went to Man City, and his attempted passes to attempted success rate was really low. But if you actually watch the matches, Szoboszlai in this case was really getting involved and doing all of the dirty work, getting into collisions left, right, and centre. This honestly was the most aggressive, cagey, contact match I've seen in a long time. There were just clashes all over the pitch from both teams, and I don't know how many yellow cards there were. We saw the 3 red cards after the final whistle, but it just felt like the referee had a really poor one. And I think that's why I'm in such a bad mood, because of the referee constantly going to his pocket or constantly giving fouls. And then when there actually is time to give a foul, a legitimate one, which would set up a goal scoring chance or prevent one from happening, it would be given. And I that's what makes my blood boil. Michael Oliver.
I actually
classic Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, I actually wonder what would have happened if Chris Kavanagh had taken the position of Michael Oliver in that game, and Michael Oliver had been sitting at the VAR bus or whatever building they've got there set up. They're all the same. Okay, and we're going to discuss that more after the ad break.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out as the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the description to learn more about Zencastr. Here at the Global Sports Podcast.
Yeah, and for some reason, that ad plays on loop for the second time when I'm doing this recording. Doesn't matter. I love listening to that ad. I actually think it's very good.
Don't I sound so happy? I sound so happy there.
So it's basically longing for better days. Okay, so after that ad, we come back to our discussion about the refereeing this time, and I'm going to have a question to Irby there. So 20 fouls on the side of Liverpool, 9 fouls committed by Everton players, and out of all of those fouls, 4 yellow cards apiece and 1 sent-off apiece. So with that in mind, Irby, the refereeing, I mean, Michael Oliver, do you agree with Louis' point of view that he completely did not manage that Merseyside Derby today?
Even over here in the States, we've got the match on NBC, and the commentators were saying right before halftime, they're saying he lost complete control of the match. And I would probably have to agree with that. I mean, it was just stop, start, no momentum. It really killed the spectacle of the game, especially the first half. I mean, yeah, there was 2 goals in the first 10, 11 minutes or so, but I mean, it didn't feel like either team could get anything going after McAllister's goal, really. And I think it opened up a little bit in the second half, maybe, but I mean, at some point it was just like, you need to let them play. I appreciated. I mean, Louis, what do you think? Do you think Connor Bradley should have been sent off for that other one?
No, I don't.
It's hard to give a second yellow for something like that. But
no,
it was. I appreciated that decision, but at the same time, it was just like, let that go. Let him play. Let it go. I don't know.
With Connor Bradley, it was one of those, if he did one more thing, he probably would have been off. But what annoys me more than anything else, this is not just this match, this is every time I've watched a football match. I've always realised that referees are so overprotective of defenders. A defender can literally back into a striker in their own third, in their own box. If they fall over, if there's just the smallest bit of contact, they will go to the ground like a ton of bricks. The referee will give a foul every single time. Look how frustrated Luis Diaz was getting. And do you remember earlier in the season when we played against Chelsea and there was that Darwin Núñez one where Slot completely lost his head on the touchline and Núñez was he couldn't believe it because there was another break on. It's constant. It's ruining football, and that's the biggest problem with refereeing and defenders at the moment. I mean, it's just I get so frustrated every time, and I'm relatively calm when I'm watching a match, but today I've lost my head because he did it over and over and over again, and also with their winner right at the end. Wasn't the same thing happening to Konate when it was an actual shove? But I think he just felt a bit too scared to face the wrath of Everton fans because they over-celebrated that goal. People running onto the pitch. He just didn't want to disappoint them. He didn't want to start a riot.
Yeah, and didn't want to take that moment away from them either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that was any other point in the game, it would be given as a foul, in my opinion, or should have been at least. But, oh, God, he completely let the game run away from him. And Premier League referees will never be out of the controversy, but today was a really bad one from Michael Oliver's perspective, I think.
Yeah, and talking about all of those controversies and especially sent-offs, I actually keep checking the news about especially quotes from the most important actors and players from that game, and I actually have a quote from Virgil van Dijk, and he was speaking to Match of the Day, and he gave his opinion on the clash of players at the end. And he said, it was a very big provocation from one certain player. We all saw it and reacted as a team. As a team as we were able to do. You know what happens nowadays? It becomes one big tussle. Then it is not me who has to deal with it. It is the referee. And today I am not sure he had it fully under control. It's as if you called him before that interview and just told him what to say.
Yeah, me and Van Dijk, we have so much in common.
Well,
apart from height, apparently, I'm only 5'6".
Well, Napoleon wasn't high either, and he wasn't tall either, and yet he still conquered Europe. So,
there we go.
The height doesn't matter, man.
I don't have too much in common with him.
Irby. So I guess I think it's going to be the host a responsibility to ask you, Irby, to be fair and to be official. Do you agree with Virgil van Dijk's words there?
Yes and no. The fact that I think he did lose control at points during the game, as Louis mentioned. Did they react as a team? If you go back, I watched, right before I hopped on, Curtis goes after Decore. And so I think he did deserve a second yellow for that. I think Decore just served his red card, but Slot getting his, I need to go back and watch that.
You're looking at it now.
But to Van Dijk's point, yeah, I need to see that again. But to Van Dijk's point, he's spot on. He's spot on, and he like you said, he took Louie's quotes almost verbatim there.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Like they've got a direct line there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to be honest, I wish I had that kind of direct line with Ruben Amorim sometimes. Yeah. Actually, Louie is right now. He's currently playing. You're playing the part of a clip, right? Like the audio.
Yeah, I'm looking at Slot getting sent off. They didn't really. They did. Oh, he gave him a very firm handshake.
Oh.
And Michael Oliver, he must have said something, because it didn't look like, you can't get sent off straight red for a handshake. He wasn't even booked, but he must have said something. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Carlo Ancelotti would disagree with you. You remember that sent off that he got but only because he was trying to discuss something with the referee.
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember that one, but I'll take your word for it.
Well, basically, the referee just taking the red card and being like, off you go. And Ancelotti, like, he was just chewing his gum, and he was like, what the damn.
Classic Ancelotti.
Turn around and just go right back. I believe, like, it was at the time when he was an Everton manager, by the way, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect Ancelotti to get into antics very much, because he just seems like a really calm man.
That was pretty much unlike him, and that is why it was one of the highlights of Premier League history. And
how on earth
those
did
clashes.
he manage Everton? How did he get the Everton job? I'll never understand.
Okay, Everton. Okay, but we have to give credit where credit is due. Everton put up a great fight to their local rivals, and that was a great send-off to the Goodison Park. And and of course, Liverpool fans wouldn't be themselves if they did not prepare a little banner, which I particularly enjoyed.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I saw it.
Louie, could you please explain to Irby and to everyone listening and watching us what the banner was?
They've put up a banner that said, it's easier to move an empty trophy cabinet. And I saw loads of Liverpool fans bringing 30th balloons into the stadium, because it's been 30 years this year since they won a trophy.
Oh my god. Well, you guys pulled no punches, so you also needed to bring your part to the send-off of Goodison Park. Okay, wow. I mean, we could just talk for hours and hours about that derby. A lot of emotions and great football, by the way. I mean, I do not frankly remember the last derby that I would watch live with my very own eyes that would have so much emotion and so much competitiveness on the pitch. You couldn't even hold on to the ball for longer than 2-3 seconds without being attacked by your opponent with a harsh tackle. I mean, that's why Liverpool, for example, that's why we had like 20 fouls on the column of Liverpool, and I believe 8 on the column of Everton. And I do not think, and those are only those fouls which were either caught by the stats person or which were seen by Michael Oliver. But there was so much more. I mean, what a game.
I mean, there was that advantage given when Salah had the ball, or was Soboslai. One of them got fouled and one of them took the ball forward, and the referee was about to give a foul, then played advantage, and nothing came of it. So that's another one there. But I think one of the players that we really needed in that game for longer was Ryan Gravenberch, because he was dealing with he deals with the press like no player I've seen for a long time. I mean, Sergio Busquets is the only other one I can think of that plays like that, and Rodri and Rice, actually. Not the only one. But he was needed for longer, and I was a bit surprised to see him come off. I understand bringing on the 2 Scousers for a Merseyside derby, and it makes sense, but I think Gravenberch could have had a bit longer, Irby.
Well, Louie, I was going to ask you this question just to backtrack. Would you have made any changes to the lineup? Not maybe just when it came out. Did you agree with it?
I agreed with it.
Okay.
I mean, who would you have played someone else? Because I thought it was pretty accurate.
The only thing when I looked at it was I would have liked to have, because I know Trent's fitness he probably couldn't have played more than 30, 35 minutes. I actually wanted to see Curtis Jones simply because he was.
Yeah, I think he was.
He's a Scouser, and I knew it was going to be. Yeah, okay, that's fair. But I knew it was going to be one of these chaotic games, and so. I mean, he's been our player of the season, Gravenberch, or other aside than Salah. So, but I think I would have actually played Curtis over Gravenberch.
Well, for like 60 minutes just to get his
60 minutes, because we knew it was going to be emotional. and just end to end, having someone like Curtis the legs going to win the balls. And if we can at some point have a 2-goal lead, then you put a player like Gravenberch on that can control the game when Everton are pressing. That's the only thing I would have thought. Now, as a coach, I think, everyone would have thought Slot is crazy to drop Gravenberch. He's been our best midfielder, arguably, this season. But I don't know. Just when I saw that team, I was just like, I would like to see Curtis Jones. I'd like to see us be a bit more open. But that's not Slot. I think Klopp would have made a move like that where he knows this is going to be a game that's going to be, there's going to be fireworks. Whereas Slot, he's just like, nope, I'm going to stick to what I do and try to play the game at my pace. But that's the only thing I disagreed with. But again,
I mean, McAllister was a non-negotiable, and the way that he set up, he essentially set up his own his goal with the interception and then the ball back as well. It was perfect. And how on earth he wins that header? It's the same as the Real Madrid one because he did the same thing there. But he was exceptional, and I think Gravenberch was really good. Curtis Jones, I mean, his yellow card was a bit silly, but also McAllister does.
I think he intended to go into the match, when he came off the bench, he was like, "I'm going into a tackle, whether I get the ball or not, whether I get a card or not, I don't care." I think that was his mindset, and he was just like, "I'm going to make my mark as a Liverpool scout, like as a scouser. I'm going in and setting the tone, and kind of these last 30 minutes, see if I can get the fans going."
His first Liverpool goal was also that screamer against Everton, so that match means so much to him as a local lad. That one bent from outside the box in the FA Cup was amazing. I think, it's definitely a match that matters most to the Scousers and Englishmen in general who grew up supporting Liverpool. And also, I think I heard the commentator say this is the first top flight match in Liverpool history where an Englishman hasn't started. Everyone was foreign. The closest is Robertson, who's Scottish, and Conor Bradley, who's Northern Irish, but everyone else is from overseas.
Well, the only first Englishman that appeared at the side of Liverpool was on the 61st minute with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Curtis Jones. Yes, exactly. Coming on for Gravenberch and Bradley. So that was the Merseyside Derby, but we're not finishing our episode just yet because there was one more thing that I would like to ask you about, guys. But first, let's hear another ad, shall we?
This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day. This podcast is
unbelievable. Yeah. Okay, so we're back, and let's look at the implications of that draw at the final derby at Goodison Park. So after this game, that was the only game that Liverpool and Everton had to play because that was like a remaining fixture from December. So Liverpool are 7 points clear of Arsenal. 10 points clear of Nottingham Forest, so Liverpool sit comfortably in the passengers, like in the passengers in the pilot seat. Obviously, 17 wins, 6 draws, and only 1 loss, with a goal difference of plus 35. Pretty impressive. And Everton, after this draw, they are tied in points with Tottenham and with West Ham United, 14th, 15th, and 16th position respectively. So, with that, guys, how do you like your title chances now?
Do you want to start, Louie?
I was hoping you'd start. Okay, I'll start.
I can.
No, I'll start. It's 14 games left and 7 points clear. It's anything can happen at this point. I just really hope that we can deal with playing against a team that goes defensive, because that seems to be our weakness. That forcing creativity. And I hope everyone stays fit. Obviously, Kai Havertz is now out for Arsenal, so they're going to have to start. Jesus, Trossard, Nwaneri, Sterling, still without Saka until mid-March, I think. So if we need to take our chances, it needs to be now while Arsenal are struggling for players that are fit. I still think Nottingham Forest are very dangerous, but they are also still in the FA Cup. Liverpool are not. And I think it's going to be a case of balancing the Premier League football with the Champions League football that Nottingham Forest don't have. And we'll also see how Arsenal fare in that competition as well. But it's too early. Still, way too early. I mean, we're only a third of the way into February. Way too early to be discussing the trophy ceremony yet. It's a scary one still. Irby, are you with me? Because I'm a bit pessimistic, I will say.
Actually, sorry, I just want to ask Irby as well on based on what you just said about like it's actually like whether that is actually too early a little bit to talk about like whether Liverpool already has the title or like is yet to fight a little bit for it. Well, the Liverpool fans at Goodison Park, they already started chanting that we won the league at Goodison Park, with the result being 2-1. Until that screamer. I didn't want to bring it up, but unfortunately, I had to right now. Okay, maybe they jinxed it. Never mind. Well. So, Irby. Looking at the average position of opponents for those remaining fixtures, Liverpool, they've got, like, according to the stats, of course, like the easiest set of opponents with the average position of 11.14, and Arsenal is like their opponents are tougher by like this 0.14. So it's more or less pretty much like same set of opponents. But if we look with much more detail at those fixtures, Liverpool, you guys have got Aston Villa away, that's Manchester City away, Newcastle at home, Everton at home again, then it's Tottenham at home. Okay, we say now, somebody could say now that Tottenham is not that big of a threat, but everything can change in those couple of months, so I wouldn't rush to judgments so quickly. And then May 10th at home against Arsenal. So that is going to be the set of your opponents for the remaining fixtures of Premier League. So Irby, how do you like your like those remaining opponents, and do you think that you still have a better chance of getting to the finish line first before Arsenal?
I really hope we can get to May 10th before we play them at Anfield and it's already done and dusted. I mean, that's my dream, where that match just means nothing. I mean, I think, Louie, you would feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm looking at these upcoming matches that Arsenal have too, with Leicester, West Ham, who else? Forest, United, Chelsea. I mean, that's not easy too. I mean, kind of to your point, what you just said about Tottenham, you know, they're not really necessarily a threat. You could kind of say the same about Manchester United and Chelsea, how they're kind of dipping and inconsistent here and there, but it's just, you know, in a way, those are both rivalries and derbies. So, I mean, Louie, we would both salivate for a 7-point lead in the Klopp-Pep era, wouldn't we, over City?
Yeah,
so there's no reason why we shouldn't be, like, I know we're both still coming down, trying to calm down from the result just now, but 7 points clear with 14 to go. It's never done. It's not over until it's mathematically over, but we really are sitting in a comfortable position. But I would just like to see us get on a roll again where we're keeping clean sheets, putting in performances week in, week out, being out of the FA Cup. I'm the kind of person, and just as an former athlete, I want to win every game. Being out of that hurts, but at the same time, it's going to help. We're going to get more rest. I just think if we can get on, you know, get out of this February, get on a roll with the Champions League, you know, win ourselves that Carabao Cup and have our just regular Champions League, Premier League, Champions League schedule. If we can get into a bit of form and just, you know, see out these last 2.5, 3 months, I think we can get it done before May 10th. But again, crazier things have happened in this league. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'm a pessimist, so for me, I'm having one of those years because I'm so stressed this season for some reason. Well, obviously because we're at the top, but I'm so stressed that we could literally win the league and it could be mathematically impossible, and I still wouldn't believe it yet. I'd have to see us lift the trophy before I start being happy. And also the Champions League. I'm really, really sort of selfish and really just hoping that we can get both. Just one of them two would be nice, but I'm greedy. I want absolutely everything. And I think this team is very capable of winning everything, especially with the FA Cup out the way now. I think that might have been a blessing and a curse, like you may have mentioned. But I just I want to take it match by match. I don't like making long-term predictions. I just want to see, okay, we got Wolves next, should win that. It's at Anfield. Let's get that done. Then we got Villa. Then we've got so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm just hoping that it can be a bit less stressful. And I hate last minute winners at the time, especially when it's against you. But when you're just stressed watching a match, it hurts you as a fan. As I'm sure both of you know. I want it to be as little stress for the rest of the season as possible.
And how like, just let's put on our Arsenal caps. From how detrimental is the Havertz news? Like, how do you feel after that? Do you think they have a bit of a lift watching that, or is it just it's still 7 points? We're down to 3 forwards. Havertz is out for the season. And you see fans around the league, and even Arsenal fans that I know, are just saying Havertz is this, Havertz is that. He's not good enough. How do you think they feel now? So
I don't know.
I'm wondering how they're feeling. I'd be very curious to know what an Arsenal fan is feeling right now.
I don't think they'll give up without a fight.
Yeah, absolutely not. I'm still not sure about the Gabriel Jesus situation, because I feel like every time I put on an Arsenal match, he's either injured or on the bench. And is he available? I'm not sure, because the way they're talking about their injury situation, it's almost like everyone's injured. But if they have Gabriel Jesus still in their arsenal, that would be. I mean, that's a good player to have in your squad. I think he's very underrated, and I think he should have been playing striker.
Underrated and underappreciated.
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, he was terrific for Manchester City for a while, and they were all really excited when they signed him. He was like their biggest signing that summer. And, I think they should have been playing him in the middle and Kai Havertz out on the right when Bukayo Saka was injured and Ethan Nwaneri was still finding his feet. I don't understand Arteta's logic there, but I think they still have a good squad. And if they haven't got the hardest run of fixtures, like we've mentioned, they should be able. They're Arsenal. They've got good squad depth, but they're complaining all the time to make excuses for being second. I hate their fan base so much. They're the worst fan base in the entire league, honestly.
They very well could be.
Yeah,
very
well so awful. Insufferable.
Guys, Arsenal fans, please stay here. Please, Louie. Okay. Louie has his opinion.
Serves Nick Bird right for cancelling on us.
Okay, but like with all seriously now, I mean, that is going to be a very tight race, I think, because when I said right before I started this thread about potential like future opponents, I said that Liverpool will have the harshest. Not the harshest, like the easiest future fixtures with 11.14, but that's not actually true, because I looked badly at the table. I'm so sorry. My apologies. There is actually a team who's got the easiest, this time it really is true, the easiest set of opponents, especially according to the stats. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, Bournemouth. Because let's look at detail who they've got. Southampton, Wolves, Brighton, Tottenham, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Man United, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Manchester City. So they will be only meeting those giants at the top of the table of the Premier League, only at the bottom end of the season. So is there a chance for Bournemouth to create some sort of like a reasonable threat?
Not to the title. Not to the title, no. I think they're too far behind us in the title race. 17 points with 14 matches to go. If that were, I mean, they've already got enough teams ahead of them as it is in the table. But to cause a problem to us would be insurmountable, I think. So I think Bournemouth have a very good chance of top 4. I mean, they're only 3 points off it, and 14 matches to go with those fixtures you said. If anything, they should be hoping to finish third above Forest, because they can. I think Arsenal and Liverpool will be the top 2. I just think that's done and dusted. But Bournemouth, I really like how they're playing this season. I love Iraola. I love the vision, and I absolutely love a team doing it based off merit instead of money. It's really refreshing, and I think that's what English football should be treasured for. So no title but definitely a good chance of top 4, maybe even third.
So, it's just a final question for you guys. Just like okay, maybe we shouldn't be taking this question super seriously, but what do you think? How many points do you guys need right now for the title?
Oh God, you're asking the math person. Let me do some math.
Okay.
I did not actually know that.
From
Wow.
14 games, and we are 7 points clear. Irby, you're drawing the stuff on the
There's a
paper.
42 possible points that are available.
Okay. 14. Yeah. Okay. 42. I think we need a good 36. I'm gonna say
36 more points to secure the title.
I'll say 33.
33. You know what? Let's write it down somewhere. At the end of the season, we will be
God.
able to somehow.
It's going to come back and bite me, isn't it?
so. If you say 33, 57 plus 33, that's 90. So you need to. Yeah. Do you know what? I think that's a good target to have. Yeah. Oh, I don't
So
like it.
And then,
I'm really stressed thinking about this. I really don't like this podcast. This has been one of my most unenjoyable podcasts I've ever done, I think.
I tried my best to accommodate you.
No, nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you.
I know.
Louie, think about this, though. The most amount of points that Arsenal can get are 92. If they win every match, they get 92 points. Think about that.
That's more. Okay. When you put it like that,
they have to be perfect.
They have to be perfect, and they can't have any more.
And that gives us room to drop 3 games or 9 points.
We've heard that one before about Arsenal, right? That they have to be perfect. Yeah. And at that time, it wasn't Liverpool, it was Manchester City. And at that time, Arsenal, they just failed at the most important hurdles. And that is why Manchester City could clinch the title. But this time, who knows? It's Premier League. Anything can happen.
They've got Forest coming up at Forest on a City ground night later this month.
Yeah,
I'm going to be. My eyes are going to be glued to the TV screen for that one. But the rest of their match, I mean, other than us and Bournemouth, actually Newcastle as well, I don't see them dropping too many points. I think that match, that Liverpool versus Arsenal match, I know it's the third to last game, but that's going to be absolutely huge because I think if that could be like a Michael, not quite like a Michael Thomas one, but similar to it.
It would feel good to win the league that day against them.
Oh, that would be so.
It would
beautiful.
feel great, especially if all you needed was a draw.
Yeah, and especially to silence all of their crying fans on social media. Oh, that would be the best part.
Or tell me this: what if we go into that match already champions and they have to give us a guard of honor?
Oh.
What would be better?
Oh, I would love that.
Settle down.
Honestly, Raheem Sterling doing that for us would be beautiful. That would my 8-year-old self would be absolutely loving that, or however old I was. I wasn't 8. No.
Settle down, guys. I'm sorry to be the bus killer, but settle down.
We need to snap back into reality.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some Eminem going. Okay. As the saying goes, well, since I'm just gonna throw some Polish saying in there. If you want to make the god laugh, tell them about your plans. So let's just leave everything to fate and to the talent of the players, and that is just gonna wrap up our episode today. So, Louie, Irby, thank you guys so much for joining me in this incredible adventure is reviewing Merseyside Derby.
Thank you very much, mate. I actually forgot this was a Merseyside Derby review towards the end then when we just started talking about the league for ages.
I feel a little bit better than I did 45 minutes ago, so
yeah,
I don't know about you.
You know what? Same. I feel the same. That's Michał. He's just...
Yeah.
What a guy. Very lucky to have you.
Trying my best. Thank you so much. Your loyal Man United fan to your service. Thank you guys so much for listening, for tuning in. And the more you guys are out there, the more excited we're going to be to do those episodes for you and to make even more exciting content for you. So don't forget to like and to subscribe. And we will be seeing you guys very, very soon. And please tune in for tomorrow, because tomorrow Mikey and Ishan will be talking about the weekend preview. Don't miss that. For now, Michał Czarniecki, thank you, and see ya. Do usłyszenia.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.